And thank you so much for joining me for Quick Technique Wednesday, where I bring you a technique in a short amount of time so that you can get some inspiration for some midweek crafting. Today's video is going to be all about doing some watercoloring with our dye inks. So I'm starting out with a piece of watercolor card that I have cut down to be a nice little panel on the front of my card, about 1.5 centimeters smaller than my card base. These are all the colors I'm using today for this technique. I've also got these acetate sheets, which are like old school projector sheets my mother-in-law gave me. I've got a whole big box of them, and they're really fun to use just to create our sort of background. So any kind of acetate will do, or non-porous surface where you can kind of squish down your ink. An ink block would work. Anything that's not going to absorb that ink will be perfect. So I'm going to squish down some of that ink, and I am spritzing quite a lot here, but I did find that on my second panel, actually just using a little bit of water went a long way, and the color was more saturated and I liked how it looked a bit better. So I've got the watercolor card that I'm starting with. I do move on to regular cardstock, and all I'm doing is taking the acetate and I am picking up some of the color off the other piece of acetate once I've added some water to that ink. And I'm just kind of squidging down that color all over the background until I'm satisfied with how that looks. Now I'll go back to that panel in just a minute, but I decided to switch from the watercolor card to regular cardstock. I felt like the watercolor card was taking ages to absorb that color, and I wasn't getting the right look I was looking for. The watercolor card is great to move the color about, but I didn't want it to move about. I wanted it to just stick there and like kind of suck right into that cardstock. So this is normal, I think 300 GSM cardstock, and all I'm doing is using all those same colors again, and I am picking up the color with my piece of acetate and squishing it down on my panel. If I want more color, then I kind of squish down more of that piece of acetate and cover more of the front. Now here's where I brought in some black. I kind of wanted the edge to have a bit more definition. I felt like I went a little too overboard with that black, but I will trim this panel down in a minute. This panel is like a full-size panel, so I'll go back to it and trim it down at the end. Now I really wanted to add some glimmer to the front as well, so I've got these awesome little pastes from Lisa Horton Crafts. Any kind of paste that is water soluble will work for kind of doing this smooshing, squishing technique as well. So all I did was mix some of that with water, get it nice and watered down because they are very, very concentrated. And then on the one, I squished the acetate down on the top, and on the other, I squished it into the acetate. So here's the one where you can see those kind of marks from that acetate. You get that as kind of like streaky marks. And this one is just where I placed it down, face down into the already mixed mixture. So here's that panel that had a bit too much black, but I hadn't trimmed it down yet to the 1.5 centimeters smaller on each side. So I did that. I went ahead and trimmed that down. And now I'm going to grab a stamp. I really like this beautiful flower one. I think it's on clearance in scrapbook.com. I don't think they have very many left. It's quite an old one. But I love this look, and it kind of gave me that kind of watercolor vibe. It was kind of like, it kind of almost gave me that like beachy sort of feel, which went with all the blues that I was using. So I decided to stamp that down in the bottom right hand corner, and then I need some thank you cards. I'm off to see my mum very, very soon. I am heading out in about 1.5 weeks to Canada, so I need some thank you cards to take for all the staff that look after her in her care home, and so that's what I'm going to be focusing on for these next couple videos. Now to pre-warn you, you may not see some videos from me while I am in Canada. I was hoping to get some kind of stockpiled, but with the kids being off on holiday, it's been very tricky. So I might have to have 2 weeks where you don't see me, but I will let you know about that. Now my pigment ink was very damp, so I needed to make sure that that was dry, and it was damp because of the paste that I used. It kind of gave it like a glossy almost feel to it. So here are my finished cards. They were so quick and easy to put together, and I love how vibrant they are. This is the watercolor card, backed it with some black cardstock, popped it up with some foam, and then this one is the regular white cardstock. I left that nice and flat, but I did back it onto a bit of black cardstock as well. So I hope you had fun with this one, and I hope you give it a go. It really only takes a few minutes, and you can play with whatever colors you want, whatever stamps you want. So it's a nice versatile technique. So thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday for Saturday Night Crafting. Take care and have a great week. Bye.